another live. It is Wednesday. So every 2 out of 3 Wednesdays, I do a morning social media live. Some Wednesdays at this time. It is my Everything Weight Loss session. I'm a bit early this morning. First world problems. We've got a cleaner coming at 11. So I need to I do my live, go to the gym, and then I'm back for 11 o'clock to let the cleaner in to do what we basically can't be asked doing. Anyway, there we go. How are we? It is Hump Day. We're nearly halfway through the working week for most of us. If you work shifts, or you're working this weekend, I'm sorry. I am sorry. So that, I don't know. Does anyone, if you do work shifts at the weekend, does it bother you that much? It seems if you're used to it, you're kind of used to it, aren't you? Anyway, how's your weight loss week going so far this week? I'm having a good week this week. I wanted to eat 2,100 calories yesterday, and I planned it all yesterday morning on the live. You watched me do it. I ended up at 2,245, and I'll tell you why. Because, and it's not a bad. Does anyone else think like this with their calories? If they don't quite, if they go over their target for the day, but it's with nutritious food, you don't mind it as much. Like, I'm a little bit like that. So basically, I did my lunch yesterday, which was a couple of 5% fat burgers, bit of cheese, bit of bacon, some broccoli, and a couple of fried eggs. And I ended up cooking the eggs in the pan that I did the burgers in. And the burger pan was dead hot, and I put them in, and I forgot about them for literally a minute, and they were just destroyed. Right? I was like, there's no way I'm eating eggs like that. So I took them out, put them on a plate, cooked 2 fresh eggs, nice runny yolks, perfect, done. And then I looked at these overcooked eggs. They were just overcooked. They just didn't have a runny yolk. And I was like, I can't bin that. That's good food. I hate binning food. So I'm going to eat them. So I had an extra 125 calories. Now, I did have those eggs, and I had a smaller protein shake in the afternoon to try and cap out, which will be a little bit over. Anyway, so I ended up on about 2,200 yesterday. Maybe a little bit more. But it's still all good. I might plan my food today. I do know exactly what I'm eating today. I've just not put it into my NutriCheck. I can do that with you guys on TikTok. Unfortunately, you guys on Facebook, YouTube can't see that because I use my computer, which you are talking to me on here, if that makes sense. But I might do a day's planning. I know exactly what I'm eating. Yogurt bowl. Actually, I don't know what I'm having for my lunch. The only meals I really plan are my evening meals. I don't mind eating a little bit off the cuff when it comes to dinner. Why? Because my kitchen's there. I work from home. So I can be a little bit more spontaneous. Normally, I'm pretty planned out. Like, I might have a little bit of meal prep to go. So I've had like my Thai curries a little bit. I had that bacon cheeseburger things left over from Monday night yesterday. So I ate them for my dinner yesterday. But today, I've got no real plans for. I said I've got no real plans for dinner. There's a couple of things in my head. I'm thinking of making a spag bowl. I don't know if I have time for lunch. Like, I like to let it simmer for an hour and a half because Rachel's away on Friday. I love spaghetti bolognese, so I'm going to have it for my dinner and I'm going to have it for my tea. So, but I'm like, I'll make 4 portions of it. Rachel's not a fan of mincemeat, so I never really get spag bowl. Anyway, there we go. Let's do the top 5 on TikTok this morning. We've got some questions in already on the old YouTube. I'll answer those shortly. Yeah, if you've got any weight loss questions, guys, this is a Weight Loss Live. Got any questions? Get them in. If I can answer them, I'll try my very best for you. Cam's in at number 1, Lou's in at number 2, Dante's in at number 3, Kelly's in at number 4, and Lisa's in at number 5 in my top 5 this morning. Thank you guys for coming straight to live, coming and saying hello. Sophie, good morning. Steph, GC, good morning. Faye, good morning. Mama Bear, good morning. Bridget, good morning. Claire Ferry, good morning. Stefan's in, good morning. Paula, David, Sheila. David, I've not had time to look at your email yet. I will do today. I'm in the office a lot this afternoon. Rach, good morning. Anna. Paula, so far so good. Need to sit and track yesterday's eating this morning. Steps need some work, though. That's all right. It's all right. A little work in progress. That's all good. And again, Paula's put there, need to sit and track yesterday's eating this morning. So Paula didn't track yesterday, but she's got the mindset to do it today to play a little bit of catch up. Now, don't get me wrong. Ideally, we would like to track before we eat something and then we can see exactly. But a lot of the time, if you've done this a long time and your eating's pretty on point, so you're not diving for biscuits or takeaways and things like that, generally your calories are going to be all right anyway. It's just looking at how much you're going to bank. And like I say, post tracking is not the ideal situation, but we don't always need to be ideal. There's nothing wrong with getting to, it's kind of not worst case scenario, but what I'm trying to say here is kudos. So many people wouldn't track on Tuesday and go, oh, sorry, I'll just start again today. You can sit down and think, what day, just for a bit of extra accountability, and get what you ate into your app. I've done it a lot in the past myself, right? I'll do it now. I might track my calories with you guys online here and this, that, or pre-plan and put it in. Do I do that every single day? No, I'm not perfect. I do have a philosophy or a little saying: if it ain't in your app, don't put it in your trap. And if you keep that in there, it will make you pre-track, because the whole point of pre-tracking is looking at your bank account really to make sure you've got the calories for what you're going to eat, right? But again, what are you crying for? It's just your mum. We've had to come in here early. You don't want to be on your mum's going to work. She's just getting ready. Absolute Mardy arse, honestly. Anyway, so yes, if it ain't in your app, you don't put it in your trap. And that's just a good sort of saying to think about. If you're going to reach for something, have I tracked it? And that might be very important towards the end of the day, right? So like, all right, let's have, oh God, you know what? And there's nothing wrong with fancying a hobnob, and there's nothing wrong with having a hobnob, but you might go, oh, my calories today is 1,600. Now, you can make the decision to go, I'm going to have that hobnob anyway because I really fancy it, and I'm going to have 1,680 today, which means we're going to have 1,520 tomorrow. Again, there's nothing set in stone. It doesn't need to be, but it's just that extra bit of accountability. But there is don't write off yesterday if you've forgotten to track or you just haven't done it or whatever. Sit there this morning for a few minutes. What did I have for breakfast? What did I have for lunch? What did I have for tea? Whatever. So try. The issue with tracking the day after is, like I say, you're not looking at your bank account before you eat something, and how good's your memory? Can we forget that little, if you are someone that's a bit of a, fridge pickers wear big knickers, we have to accept that at times. So if you are someone that you can get a little bit snacky and, oh God, that look when you open up the fridge and that little piece of, the little 20-gram blocks, oh, God, I'll just have one of them now. Do you remember that the next day? You might remember your breakfast, your dinner, and your tea, right? But do you remember any little bits that you might possibly have in between? That's where the inaccuracies can come in, Anyway, YouTube, morning, mate. Morning, Kevin. Morning, just a question. I've reached my goal. How do I work out how to maintain? Great to see you. If you've reached your goal weight, right? Now, I don't know how you've reached your goal weight, but if you've reached your goal weight, calorie tracking, right? Always worries me this. If you're counting your calories, you should know your maintenance from the day you start, because your calorie allowance should be based off your maintenance calories. Now, the worry is if you've reached your goal and you've not worked your calories from your maintenance, there's a very good chance you've over-restricted yourself and not put the changes in place for long-term success. I'm not saying that's the guarantee for everybody, right? But if you want to work out how to maintain, really simple. You move from deficit calories to maintenance calories, right? That's it. That's how we maintain. And that will maintain body fat percentages. It will not maintain your weight. Your weight will still fluctuate on a day-to-day basis. Calorie counting every meal, every day, right? So why do you not know your maintenance calories already? So you literally go from calorie deficit to calorie maintenance. Now, you need to understand this. Whenever you go from a calorie deficit to a calorie maintenance, your weight will go up a bit, not your fat, right? Calorie deficit is for fat loss and fat gain, or calorie deficit is for fat loss, calorie surplus is for fat gain, calorie maintenance is for fat maintenance, right? Calorie deficit is not for weight loss, weight gain, or weight maintenance short term, right? Calorie deficit is for weight loss long term, because the only way we can lose weight long term is by consistently losing body fat. But short term, I was on 1,600 calories a day. Doesn't matter. What's your maintenance? You should know what your maintenance calories are. I can't help you. Need to work out your maintenance. I can work them out for you. Come join my community, or join my plan if you want some coaching for the first 3 months of your maintenance phase to make sure that you're in a good place. So yeah, you need to know what your maintenance calories are. It doesn't matter what you were tracking to. My maintenance calories are 3,500 a day. I track to 2,600 a day. So I know if I want to maintain my body fat percentages, I can move up to 3,500. But like I say, a big thing you need to understand is when you go from calorie deficit to calorie maintenance, this could be a short-term thing where you're having a weight loss break. Your weight will still go up. I get clients. I've had a weight loss break, stuck to maintenance, and I've gained 4 pounds. Why? Because you've eaten more food, right? And you've had a lot more food freedom, which means the foods you've eaten are probably a little bit more unhealthy, a little bit more salt. You might have treated yourself to a little bit of alcohol over the weekend or something like that. And that will, of course, excess food weight, water retention in the body, and it's just popped your weight up a little bit, right? I would say anyone that gets to goal weight, when you move to maintenance calories, right, your weight will settle between 2 and up to 7 pounds heavier than your goal weight. That's where your weight will settle, and it will fluctuate from there. So if your goal weight was 140 pounds and that's where you're at now, and you move to maintenance calories, you're gonna fluctuate between 142 and 147. Right, that's where your weight's going to settle, and when it's settled, it will then fluctuate up and down from there. Now, what a lot of people do is people panic. People are like, "Oh my god, I'm gaining weight because I'm in a car." Yeah, you're gaining a bit of weight back because you're just increasing your average food weight, and water retention in your body. It's going to happen. Now, what can you do if your goal weight is 140? You're never going to sit on your goal weight, right? Again, get that out of your noggin right now. Right? You're never going to sit perfectly on your goal weight. There's always going to be daily fluctuations. It's where you're hovering around, and it's where you're going to hover around from. But if your goal weight, where you want to, I want to hover around 150 pounds, right? Well, I would suggest dieting down to like 145, right? If you diet down to 145 and then move to maintenance calories, you're going to settle around that 150, and then your daily fluctuations will move from there. And your daily fluctuations, some days you might go up to 154, some days you might drop down to 147, right? And this is, the journey is not just about weight loss, right? It's about understanding weight loss, understanding how the scales work, creating a healthier relationship with it. It's not just about sticking to a number and tracking to it. Yeah. Yasmin, good morning. Big Mark, good morning. Victoria, good morning. If anyone wants a calorie allowance, TikTok profile, Facebook page, YouTube page, Instagram, click on the link tree, join my community. It's £5 for your first month using code WELCOME, and you get access to my community. And as part of access to my community, I'll ping you over a calorie breakdown. And that calorie breakdown will include your metabolism, it'll include your maintenance calories, and it will include your deficit calories. All right. So you'll have all that information. If you feel you need a bit more help, join my one-to-one plan. That is just 15 quid at the moment, £15 to sign up. You spend $29.99 a month for a minimum 3 months. After that, you can cancel whenever you want to. Yeah, but I've got a deal on at the moment. Half price sign up, just 15 quid. And the second bonus for January is if you complete for your minimum 3 months commitment, you'll get 6 one-to-one check-ins with me. And if you complete all those on time, I'll give you another month on top. Right? So you sign up now. If you sign up now, you can join. I'll get you on plan Monday. We've got 3 people starting on Monday. So I'll get you on plan on Monday. You'll get your plan Thursday, tomorrow, right? So you can have a look at your plan, have a read through, ready to start Monday. And you'll be basically covered for 105 quid. Not one-off payment, sorry. Total £105, all in, right? But that'll be split up. £15 sign up. $29.99, $29.99, $29.99. You'll be coming till mid-May. So come get involved. Going to join your community. Not a problem at all. Sign up to the community. There's no commitment. You can cancel whenever you want to. And I'll give you a calorie breakdown. You can see what your maintenance calories are. But you have to understand this. when you move towards maintenance calories, and you might want a phased return to them. Some people call it reverse dieting. So your maintenance calories might be 2,500. You've been eating 1,900, right? So the first couple of weeks, you might move to 2,100. Your weight's going to creep up a little bit, but you won't see a big bump, right? And then for the next 2 weeks, you're going to move up to 2,300. And again, if this is going to panic you, come on, plan with me. Because when you check in with me and I'm like, yep, you're eating maintenance calories, you're doing this, you're doing that, there's no need to panic. It's just a standard fluctuation. It's just an increase in this. I'll calm this down so you stop panicking. So many people get to goal weight, move to maintenance calories, and the back trying to put themselves in a calorie deficit within 2 weeks because they're panicking about what the scales are doing. Right. Anyway, there we go. Have I said good morning to everyone? Karen, good morning on Facebook. Donna, good morning on Facebook. Pete's in, good morning on TikTok. Let me have a scan down. Morning, Neil. If you stay in a deficit, would you just stay at that weight? Hang on. If you stay in a deficit, would you just stay at that weight? No. Like a calorie deficit is fat loss. So if you consistently stay in a calorie deficit, you'll consistently lose fat. Now, as you lose weight, if you don't increase your movement, so let's say you start off, let's say you're currently 18 stone, right? And your calories are 2,200 calories a day. That's your calorie deficit to lose a pound a week, right? And you're currently doing 6,000 steps at 7,000 steps a day, something like that. Right? For every 1 stone that you lose, your calorie burn will drop about 50 calories. It doesn't drop that much, right? So you need to lose 3 stone really before you'd see any slight sort of proper recognizable slowdown in losses on the scales. All right. So again, some people, I'm 18 stone, I get to 17 stone, the scales have stopped moving, I need to eat less calories. No, you don't. You're at 18 stone and you're sticking to a calorie deficit, and for whatever reason, you've stopped doing it. Your calories never need to change. They never need to change. From the day you start at 18 stone, 20 stone, 25 stone, you never need to eat less calories. When I started my weight loss journey 12 years ago, I weighed 37 stone and I ate between 2,500 and 3,000 calories a day, right? I now weigh just over 18 stone and I eat between 2,500 and 3,000 calories a day. Why am I eating the same amount of calories just over 18 stone as I ate at 37 stone? Surely you've needed to change your calories, Neil. No, I can eat the same amount of calories because when I was 37 stone, I did 1,000 steps a day. Now I'm just over 18 stone. I do 11,000 steps a day. So my metabolism has dropped because I've lost a lot of weight, but my NEAT and EAT, my non-exercise activity thermogenesis, and my exercise activity thermogenesis, so the calories I burn above metabolism through movement and as exercise. So when I was 37 stone, my metabolism was up here, and my extra calories from movement was here. Don't get me wrong, actually, they were probably about here because me just doing 1,000 steps at 37 stone will burn a lot of calories. Now my metabolism has come to here, right? But my movement calories have come to here. My metabolism is still miles higher, but I've dropped, and I'm in a smaller deficit. So I'm in a calorie deficit at the moment that will lose me 1.5 pounds a week, right? Maybe up to 2 pounds a week. Yeah. Whereas when I was 37 stone, my calorie deficit would have even doing 1,000 would have lost 3 to 4 because I lost 10 stone in the first year. I lost 140 pounds. So I lost 10 pounds, 12 pounds a month. So I was losing 3 pounds, 4 pounds a week. Right. And that was with having a couple of weight loss breaks throughout the year as well. And I lost 10 stone in the first 12 months. Yeah. So if you consistently stay in a deficit, you'll consistently lose. Now, if you start off at 18 stone doing 7,000 steps a day and you never increase your movement, right, eventually your calorie deficit would become a calorie maintenance. But at 18 stone, you'd have to get to 13 stone before you stopped being in a calorie deficit, right? You'd have to lose 5 stone, but your losses would slow right down the closer you get to that 13 stone marker. So if you're 18 stone, and your calories are 2,100 a day, and you're doing 7,000 steps a day, and you lose 4 stone, amazing. You get down to 14 stone, your calorie burn has dropped by about 200 calories a day, which means if you're doing the same movement, eating the same calories, your deficit's gone from 500 a day to 300. But if you go from doing 7,000 steps a day to 10,000 steps a day, right, then that'll counterbalance, not a million miles away. So you'll still be in a calorie deficit. You'll still be in a 500 a day calorie deficit. Yeah. And that's what I do with all my clients. I literally encourage them. It's miles easier to move more than it is to eat less. I am telling you now. So if you've been on a weight loss journey and you start off at 2,000 calories and a couple of months later you're at 1,800 and a couple of months later you're at 1,600, you're just doing it so wrong. You really, really are. Because A, there's no need to drop your calories that quickly anyway, right? And B, you're not working on yourself, right? You're not trying to change things, yeah? Right, let me scan up. Peter, good morning, boss. Good morning, mate. One of my goals this year is to do 100,000 steps a week. And it's going great so far because I was getting a bit lazy, so I need to go. Yeah, got to set yourself goals. Bit of focus. Can't beat it. Yeah. Jones in. Good morning. I think I've said hello to Pete. I'm scanning up, seeing if I've missed any questions or anything like that. I've done Nick's there. My hunger demons are awful right now. Why, Jem? It's psychological hunger. It will be psychological hunger. Why? Why have you got like severe psychological hunger? We can only fix a problem when we know why we've got one, right? So we need to get to the bottom of it. You need to think about what's going on in your life at the moment. And I know you've got quite a few things going on in your life and they could be emotionally triggering, but you need to write them down. Get yourself a journal. Get your thoughts out there. What's going on? And then we can start chipping away at them, can't we? And also the fact that I'm doing it is a huge improvement for me because we all know, yeah, we know you're a tracking ball. It's not your most consistent part of the journey, should we say. Jem, I've decided I need to plan things out as I've not been doing that this year so far. Yeah, absolutely. But never beat yourself up. If you've never quite been that, we beat ourselves up so much. We're so hard on ourselves, and being hard on ourselves just is an emotional trigger. So just see things that you can improve on and work on it. Plan out a little bit more, get a little bit more out. At the end of the day, there's always got to be that element of willpower and want, right? There has, but if you see where you can improve, just work on it. Yeah. Hannah, good morning, by the way. Regan's in, good morning. Karen, good morning. Morning, -2 here today and frost. Yesterday was 10. Stupid weather today, all planned. Lovely. Nando's tonight, though, so that might change things a bit. I never find Nando's too bad. Jan's in, good morning. Lynn's in, good morning. Have I said good morning to you? I think I've covered everyone, have I? Anyway, blanket good morning if I've missed anyone. I never find Nando's too. Don't get me wrong. I've got a pretty decent calorie allowance. So I can normally do Nando's for 1,000 calories. 11. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of you might be like, whoa, that's loads. But I can only do a pretty decent Nando's for about 1,000 calories. But I always go to Nando's with quite good intentions. But the garlic bread's ace in it. The peri-peri chips are ace. And there's nothing wrong with eating those things. They're just a little bit calorific, aren't they? So, I'm still yet to try. I've seen this hack, and it's an old one where people get like the butterfly chicken breast and the garlic bread and make a sandwich with that. And it's meant to be absolutely amazing. I need to try it. I really do. Batch cooking protein pancakes this morning, taking forever. If you just nip to Aldi, you can buy them and it'll save you a lot of time. I don't mind a bit of convenience. Now, don't get me wrong. If you make your own protein pancakes, they might have a bit better macros than if you were to buy them from Aldi. But there's just certain things where my time can be spent better. And at the end of the day, a pancake's a carbohydrate. A pancake is a carbohydrate. It should be carb based, right? So if you're making protein pancake, I've saw someone the other day making protein pancakes just using eggs and protein powder and a bit of banana. I was like, that's a banana pancake, omelette. That's not a pancake. A pancake needs to have some variety of flour in it, whether you use almond flour or oat flour or something like that, or you use actual flour. Flour's flour, really. So it should be carbohydrate based. So something that's, something that is technically a carbohydrate with a bit more protein in than the standard version, which a lot of people can't get their head around, right? Which they can't get their head around. Yeah, it shouldn't have, a 100-calorie protein pancake shouldn't have 10 grams of protein in it. I mean, if you make them like that and you enjoy them, fine, fair enough. But for me, it shouldn't, So the ones that you buy, 2 pancakes, 200 calories, 10 grams of protein, it's the base. And when you whack a load of protein yogurt onto it anyway, yeah, it's all good, isn't it? When I say protein yogurt, I'm talking 0% fat Greek yogurt with some whey protein powder in it. It's about the calories of like the overall dish. The overall dish. That's kind of what the calories are all about, really. Just join the community. Brilliant. When you join the community or you sign up to Plan, you will get an order email confirming that you've signed up. In that order email are some downloads. They're a bit rubbish on your phone. Get your iPad out, get your laptop out, go to the email through there, download them. And in there is a consultation form in the order confirmation. And ping it over to me, and I'll sort your calories out this afternoon for you. I've got a bit of a plan writing. I've got actually 2 people join the community yesterday. 1 person joined the plan. I already had another 2 people signed. So this afternoon is plan writing, calorie calculating afternoon. I also want to try and record a podcast. So I'm going to talk a little bit today in a podcast. It'll be out tomorrow about what we're going to talk about, like long-term effects of obesity. Because I went last week for an appointment with my orthopedic surgeon around my knees. And, a lot of people are dilly-dallying. And for a reason. Sometimes it's because we can't crack our food addictions. We can't crack our emotional eating sometimes. But I think this is the case for a good amount of people. They just can't be arsed. And we get comfortable. We get used to, I did, right? I never realized what being 37 stone was like until I wasn't 37 stone. I never realized the things that it limited me doing. I never realized the things I struggled with until I lost the weight. Just simple things like getting in and out of a car, how much of a struggle it used to be, getting up and down off the toilet, doing my own personal care. But you get used to it. I've been morbidly obese for so long. I didn't know any different. So at the time, it just become a bit of a comfort zone. And I started living my life the way a 37 stone person needs to live their life. And you don't see the light at the end of you don't see anything different because it's what you're used to. It's kind of like if this might be different for someone that's been a healthy weight up until being 30 and then got really fat from being 30 to the point now where your obesity massively impacts your life because you can see what you've lost or the way I've always been like really fat. I've always been morbidly obese from being 10 years of age. And even being 10 years of age, 11 years of age, 12 years of age, I never realized the effects and the long-term effects it's had on my life. And those things will never go some things will never go anywhere, or some things will never be perfect. Mindset. My obesity destroyed my mental health. And although my mental health is decent now, it'll never be where it could be because I've still got those demons in my head. I've just learned to shackle them, right, in a lot of chains, and they'll never come back. They're banished, but they're always going to be there because I can't erase the past. I can change the future. No one can erase the past. So you can learn to accept things. You can learn to digest things in your mind. You can learn to, come to terms with a lot of bits and pieces, but the memories are still there. They become lighter. They become less. I still now, some parts of being 37 stone are still quite raw, even though I've been on this journey for so long now. Other things are a lot better. But, that's just one example of, and I think, if I'd lost my weight when I was 25 rather than 33, I'd have had 8 years less of demons. And I think my mental health would have been better than it is now. And it's good now. I'm not saying it's not bad at all, but I do still have my struggles, and I always try and live life in a positive way, but I do have certain things that I fight inside. Right? I do, and maybe I don't talk. I do talk about them on lives, and I always want to be seen as more motivational than not. But I also want to be real with you guys, because I don't want any of you guys to think, oh, he's just sorting everything out now and life's just a dream. It really isn't. Right? It really, really isn't. Anyway, I'm going to discuss it all in a podcast. I don't know where it's going to go. I know the major long-term effects have had. Some are physical, some are mental. And I'm going to talk about that. And what I want you guys to take from the podcast is, wherever you're at on your journey, wherever you are, the sooner you get your shit sorted out, the better it's going to be. That is the honest truth. That is the honest truth. Certainly with the physical side of things. Because I can keep working on this and make it better and better and better. Like my joints now, they're where they're at. Like, don't wrong, I can keep moving as much as I can. I can keep doing light legs and in the gym and keep my mobility the best I can possibly keep it. But, at the end of the day, there's no long-term things that I can personally do to improve, like the issues with my knee joints and stuff like that, Anyway, let me scan up. When's this podcast? Hopefully have it out tomorrow. I'm going to try and record it this afternoon. If I don't record it this afternoon, I'll record it tomorrow. The podcast for me they're really easy to edit. Certain things that I do for YouTube or are a pain in the bum to edit. They just take a bit of time, right? And I'm not a full-time content creator. If I was getting even 20, 30, if I got 20,000 views on a video on YouTube, that'd earn me 100 quid. Well, I don't mind spending an hour recording a podcast and then an hour or two editing it if needs be. I don't, I earn probably about £2 a video. I do it because I love doing the long term. I don't do any YouTube stuff for monetization. I do get paid money. It is monetized, but I don't do it for the money side of things. I do it because I really enjoy doing the long form content, and it's just something, it mixes it up a little bit. I'm much more comfortable doing long form content than I'm doing the short form stuff, because I don't know whether it's just the way my brain, I like to waffle and go off on tangents. Well, when I first started doing TikTok, it used to stress me out because you were limited to a minute. And next thing you're at a minute and you've not got your point across, and I couldn't condense things down enough. It's a bit different now. You can do 10-minute TikToks if you want to. And I do. And I don't give a toss about length of videos now. I just waffle on even short form videos. Instagram and not Instagram, YouTube is still limited to 3-minute shorts. So I can't always post everything that I do on TikTok and Reels to YouTube. I don't really care. But yeah, hopefully I'll have that podcast out tomorrow. Anyway, I feel upset when I hear and see morbidly obese life stories. If you know, you know. I feel upset now when people aren't sorting their stuff out. I do, and I feel nothing but empathy or sympathy. And and some people might be like, some obese people are like, oh, don't feel sorry for me. I do, because I know where you're at. I know exactly where you're at. I've lived in your shoes, and I know how hard it is, right? I've been there. It's tough. It's really tough. And some people might say, well, if it's that tough, why does that not motivate people on to sort the stuff out, because it's an addiction. It's an emotional eating response. It's a coping mechanism. And it is very, very hard to mentally take that coping mechanism and food addiction away without any external aids, maybe. Because, like, you might have a heroin addict. A heroin addict will go from heroin to like methadone, which is obviously like a synthetic version of it, and then they get weaned off the drug. Smoking addictions, you've got like your Nicorettes and your patches and your gums, and then is it Champits? Don't know. I had a lot of friends that quit smoking using like a patch thing. Is that not a Nicorette patch, or maybe it was a tablet? Can't remember, but it takes the withdrawal away, you know. But it's very, very hard. I think things like alcoholism, I think that's very hard. I don't know if there's any outside influences that can be used. You know, obviously now with obesity, we've had bariatric surgery around for a long time, but that just limits the amount of food you can eat in one time. It doesn't limit the amount of food you can eat over 24 hours. You know, it doesn't take away cravings. It doesn't take that need away. And then obviously now we've got the weight loss jabs, which obviously it does limit the amount of food you can eat, maybe in one sitting, and probably helps to limit the amount of food you can eat over 24 hours. And it does help with the mental side of things. But we're obviously seeing now the tail end of a lot of people that went on it 18 months ago that have stopped taking it through financial reasons, stopped taking it because side effects are too great when they get to higher doses, and the lower doses just aren't working for them anymore. They feel it's not, you know, so but it's still a tool. But if you're trying to do this on your own, it's tough. It's really tough. I'm not going to say it isn't. You know, I'm not going to say it isn't. I've been addicted to a lot of things. Right? I've been addicted to a lot of things. I am an addict. Right? I've been addicted to gambling. I've been addicted to alcohol. I've been addicted to smoking. I used to smoke. I've been addicted to substances that aren't legal in this country. I don't think they're legal in any country, to be fair, some of the substances. And when I say addicted, I always use the excuse, I just did them, like things that substances that weren't legal, I just did them recreationally. I just did a little bit of the weekend. It's fine. I couldn't do a weekend without it. That's an addiction. Just because I didn't do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, I did do it Friday. Just because I didn't do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, some you know, for 4 days out of 7 doesn't mean I'm not addicted. Same with alcohol. You might, you know, I towards the end, the start of the last sort of 18 months, it's tough on this because when my dad passed away and I wasn't working, I went on a bender for 6 months, so it sort of came back. But really, throughout 2012 and the first 3 or 4 months of 2013, I only actually went out a couple of times a week. I cut it down from like 5 to 2. That was due to my physical health. It was not due to the want, but I still went out, and my alcoholism got worse because of the pain I was in from my physical issues. Like going out on I used to get home from work on a Friday at like 2:00, and I'd crack open a bottle of wine. I used to drink 2 bottles of wine because that was my pain relief to get me to the pub before I went out. That's what I started doing. So I've been an alcoholic. The difference for me between cracking some of those addictions, I've been addicted to gambling. So I've just got a massive addictive personality. When I was addicted to fruit machines, I don't know how to explain it. I can explain the addiction. I just chase my money all the time on them, and you know, I used to put my wages in fruit machines. And this is when I worked in pubs. And when I quit doing, and I literally did go cold turkey. I literally said, right, that's it, that's enough. And I used to finish my shift, say on a Friday night, and then these are the days where you rung the bell at 11, or you rung the bell at 20 to 11, and at 11 o'clock the hat went down and the bar was shut. That was it. Last orders was at 11. And then, you know, we were a country pub. We weren't too strict. So people could buy 2 or 3 at 11 and sit at the table for an hour or so. And then we boot them out at midnight. And then there'd be a few. And then there'd be a few. What would there be? A few? Yeah, there'd be a few stragglers, and we might have a bit of a lock-in. But as soon as we shut the hatch, I'd be on the fruit machine chucking money into it. When I went cold turkey, you know, the fruit machine used to talk to me. I've talked about this before. It used to talk to me, right? And those are the demons in my head. And I used to click. I used to have this, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I'd be sat on my stool at the end of my shift in the pub with a pint in my hand, and I'd be looking at it, and I'd be like, I got the feeling inside my body of this thing saying, come put money in me. And it was even worse if I knew someone had been on it, because that's what causes the addiction, because you kind of like, you watch people throughout the night, oh, there's been 500 quid put in that. No one's won it yet. It's got to be my turn. And it'd be like that. And honestly, it was a horrible feeling. I got the same feeling from smoking, quitting smoking. I used to go into the pub and no, I've quit. And I went cold turkey. I didn't use anything to quit smoking. It's like, no, not doing it anymore. And I really wanted to quit. But in the pub, you'd have a pint, and then everyone would be like, right, going out for a tab. Are you coming, Neil? Like, no, I'm all right. And I'm stood in the back in the little taps room at the pub I used to go to, and everyone was still a lot of my mates smoked, and the majority of people were outside, and you were there, and you were like, I don't know, you felt this draw. God, just go and have one. One's all right. Yeah, and that's the addiction. I never really got that from food. Never really got like what I call the click when I went on my weight loss journey. And I don't know if that's just because of the way I lost it or the method I took, because I never really, I suppose there's nothing in food that's as addictive as nicotine or that, but there is that want. But when I started my weight loss journey in 2014, I didn't cut anything out. So I didn't get I didn't go, oh God, I need some chocolate. I ate it twice a week, and a decent amount, really, in the grand scheme of things. You know, I had a proper chocolate bar Wednesday night and a proper chocolate bar Sunday night. And some of you guys might go, oh, that's not enough for me. Well, it was a compromise for me. So I could have said, yeah, I'm going to have a Freddo every night, which is fine if that works for you. But I wanted to feel like I was having a decent amount of chocolate. And some Wednesday nights, I'd have a Twix Duo and a grab bag of crisps. I always had crisps and chocolate Wednesday night, crisps and chocolate Sunday night. Those were two of my treat nights. And, and that just wasn't the only thing I had as a treat. And sometimes I'd grab a Duo. Sometimes I'd just have a two-fingered normal size Twix sort of thing. But, I never craved crisps and chocolate. Or maybe I did. Maybe it's kind of like, maybe on a Tuesday, I was like, oh, I could just eat some crisps. But in my mind, I'm like, you're having it tomorrow, and you're having a decent amount tomorrow, and that's enough for you this week. So maybe it's just the way I lost the weight, why I didn't. But, I watched, just going back to Carly's point there, where she says she feels upset when I hear and see morbidly obese life stories. If you know, you know. And like, we're going back actually and watching my 600-pound life from the beginning, I never got to the state really that I say that, maybe I'm kidding myself. You see a lot of people on my 600-pound life got really bad lymphedema. They've got big masses on their body that need removing. They've got really bad cellulitis in their calves. I actually never had any of that. Very, very lucky. I don't know, because I was 6'5" and I was quite big. And up until really my early 30s, just a couple of years, I was always fairly active, never exercised. But what I mean by fairly active was a lot of people get this serious fluid retention, and so because they're very sedentary a lot of the time. And I was a sedentary person, obviously. I didn't move a lot. I said that at the start of my journey, I was doing 1,000 steps a day, but that was really only 18 months before starting my journey when my mobility really plummeted. I used to work in sales, like door to door. I used to work behind bars. I used to work in advertising where I'd have to park up for the day and walk from office to office to office. It was knackering, it was tiring, and I always tried to plan my route out so I didn't have to work. But I was always, I think for someone 37 stone, my level of movement, like I say, up until probably a couple of years before I started my weight loss journey, I was probably always doing a good few steps, or maybe I was just lucky. Maybe I was just lucky. And I was 514 pounds. And when I started my weight loss journey, so yeah, maybe again, I didn't get to 600 pounds. I wasn't a million miles away. 100 pounds is a big difference. You know, you go from 614 pounds to 514 pounds. It's 7 stone. That is a huge difference. But, you know, yeah, I never saying that though. You do see my 600 pound life with some people. That there was a guy on it the other day that we're watching. He's 740 pounds, and he was, but he was like same as me, 6'6". He was just a big guy, and other than having obviously a lot of fat mass on his body, he didn't have any major. So when he lost all his weight, he had a huge apron. You know, if you've got quite a big overhang on your stomach where it sags down, it's that they call that an apron. And I had a massive apron. My apron nearly went down to my knees. Like when I lost my weight, like yeah, I had a big apron. So yeah, but I've got a lot of empathy. I've got a lot of empathy because I know how hard it is to break the cycle, but I also know how hard it is to live in that body, if that makes sense, you know. I can't find season 1, but 2 to 30. Yeah, I have season 1's not on. It might be on YouTube, I suppose. But yeah, we've started at season 2, and certain people I remember, so we skipped past those, but certain ones we've watched them all. For me, I find it might sound like I do find it really interesting. I pick up a lot of psychology from it. That's why what I do, honestly, it helps me as a coach. It helps me as a coach. I pick up a lot of psychology from it. What program is this? My 600 Pound Life. It's a TLC program. If you've got Sky, you get basic. Well, it might not be basic. You get Discovery Plus free. You don't get the sports on it. You don't get TNT. But if you've got Sky, you get Discovery Plus for free, and they're all on Discovery Plus. All on Discovery Plus. My 600 Pound Life, and it's all about bariatric surgery. And why I really started watching it was I started watching it in like 2000, and when I became a personal trainer in 2018. I started working with a client one-to-one PTing that had bariatric surgery, and I didn't know much about it at the time. So doing my own research, looking into things, and then started watching 600 Pound Life because it's all about bariatric surgery. I tell you what's interesting, going back and watching season 2, which was like 2014, 2015, to watching the later episodes of My 600 Pound Life. In season 2, we've got these people that are 600 pounds, and he's literally like, go lose 20 pounds in a month and we'll do your surgery. And they do. They go away, they lose 20 pounds in a month, and they come back and he has them in for surgery. In the later seasons, he makes people lose 50, 60 pounds over 2 or 3 months before he does the surgery. So there's obviously a shift there where he's realized he's doing it too soon. Right, he's doing it too quickly, too soon. He needs people he needs to see more of a change in people. So he's obviously getting a lot of regression. So you know, someone can live off 1,200 calories a day. Well, anything under 2,000 calories a day for 3 months and lose 100 pounds, right? Now, in my eyes, I used to watch it and go, if you've lost 100 pounds in 3 months and you can stick to 2,000 calories a day, just crack on doing that. Dr. Nazardin, that's the main guy, that the surgeon in it, he's like, the eating habit will come back. And he's absolutely right if you're doing it the way he's coaching it, because he puts you on very restrictive diets. But he's doing that because his thing is, you know, if we give you bariatric surgery, what you'll also notice on later on in life, later on in the series, everyone gets therapy. So early on, you get the odd people that get therapy here and there. Later on in life, because again, the bariatric surgery is a tool to help you eat less, but you also need tools to stop you emotionally eating and to sort this out. So he does that. So it's interesting to see the changes going from the older series to the new series, and that's just obviously Dr. Now improving as a surgeon and improving his things, if that makes sense. Neil, I've messaged you. Maureen, you have messaged me. I'm sorry I've not messaged you back. There's not really much I can say, if I'm being honest with you. I will message you back though shortly. I have got a response, but there's obviously not a lot I can say. Anyway, good for your CPD. Yeah, it is, and that's why I started watching it originally. And I watch it. I do. A lot of people think, well, this is what's frustrating sometimes as a coach and as someone that puts a lot of content out there. I don't just make stuff up, right? I don't just take one person's point of view or look at one study to make my own points of view up or to give you my own opinions. A lot of it's not opinions. I base a lot of stuff on facts. A lot of people base information on opinions, right? I base everything off science. Now, I don't quote science. I don't quote studies. My followers aren't interested. If I posted PMIDs, PubMed identification numbers of studies that I've looked at or that I've been put onto, or I've watched other influencers that use PMIDs, right? If I put that on it, it's just going to go, because to go through a PubMed research paper, they're absolutely, they destroy the brain. Right, yeah, and you're better off just going to the bottom, because they have a really good summary at the bottom of this is what we did, this is what we found, and that's all you need to see. Now, there are some influencers out there that will actually read the paper, highlight different parts of it, and then post it. I haven't got time to do that, and B, but everything I talk about is based on, logic, context, and actual scientific evidence, and that's all we've got to base stuff off. And scientific evidence can change. It can change, right? Further studies, further research, and as things change, views and opinions can change. That's fine. But at this moment in time, 2026, we've got what we've got from the 14th of January back. That's all we've got at the moment to base stuff off, and at the time we'll base stuff off that. And going forward, if things change, if it does come out that eating saturated fat is good for us, it never will come out. But if it does ever come out that eating saturated fat, I'll change my tack to say, yeah, eat loads of saturated fat. There's absolutely zero evidence anywhere to say that, Likewise, if it ever comes out that, eating seed oils causes inflammation and is bad for us, I'll come out and say that. There is no evidence to back that up. No official, proper proven evidence. Nothing. There's made up articles where people go, yeah, it's just bad for us. Why? Show us the evidence, show us the trials, show us that, we made 500 people use rapeseed oil and nothing else as a fat for 6 months, and their health markers went from this to this, right? And we all gave them the same diet, same thing, all controlled. They checked in with us every week. We looked at their markers, and their health markers went from this to this. There's none. In fact, people that use omega-6 fatty acids and omega-3 fatty acids rather than saturated fats, the health markers improve. They don't disprove. So why would we not use those products? But you'll get some influencer that everyone loves. Oh, this guy's amazing. He's actually saying what we know. You like eating loads of cheese and loads of butter, and you love eating fried foods. So when an influencer that comes on that looks in pretty decent shape, that's telling you to eat loads of butter and loads of full fat burgers and loads of eggs and loads of not deep fried, but fried foods, you're like, hallelujah, because I want to lose weight and I still want to eat loads of high fat calorific foods. That's all it is. That's why a lot of people are sucking in, like, oh, what, to lose weight? I can still eat all, full fat cheddar. You can still eat full fat cheddar anytime. I do. It's amazing how many people, when you put something on social media, you're like, This is protein cheese. Don't eat protein cheese, eat full. No, I like to eat full fat cheese. I eat 30% reduced cheese, eat 50% reduced cheese, and I'll eat what they call protein cheese, which is just 65% reduced fat cheese. It's just when one macronutrient comes down, in the case of cheese, if you lower fat, another macronutrient has to go up. And in terms of cheese, that is protein. And then you've got people, it's what you need to be worried about is how they take the fat out of the cheese. They use lower fat milk. Have you ever been into a supermarket and you've got blue top, green top, and red top? Whole milk, 2% fat. Semi-skim milk, 1% fat. Skim milk, fat-free. And that is the difference between, that's it. Now, what a cheese manufacturing company will do, it won't be quite as simple as whole milk, semi-skim milk, or skim milk. So in terms of 0% fat Greek yogurt, they probably use skimmed milk to make it. With cheeses, you need some fat in there. So I would guesstimate, and if you're a cheese maker and you make lower, lighter cheeses, reduced fat cheeses, I would guesstimate that a 30% reduced fat cheese is probably made with something like a semi-skim milk. I would say your 50% reduced fat cheese is a blend of semi-skimmed and skimmed, and because they're not going to have specific, like I say, full fat milk's 2%, semi-skimmed is 1%, skimmed is 0. They're not going to go, well, let's make 0.5% skim milk or what, no, they'll just blend like different milks to make different fat contents and then make the cheese from that. It really doesn't need to be such a, I'd be interested in PMIDs, but really appreciate creators that read them and simplify them too. Absolutely. And when there's so many creators that do that, the two that are fantastic, if you want to watch, one's a little bit annoying the way he talks, but his content is very, very good. He's BioLane, right? He is really, really good, and he's American-based. So if you want two, one on this side, and the other in this country is Dr. Ids, right? Dr. Ids in the UK, BioLane in America. They both base their content on scientific studies, PubMeds, PMIDs, right? And they'll go through the research, they'll break it down, they'll highlight it, and there's no argument from it. People still argue from it, right? Because then they'll come back and go, you're paid to say that. You're paid by who? It's amazing how cynical people are that they think, and I'm not saying all NHS doctors, trust me, not all NHS doctors are that good, are they? But this guy is spot on because he shows the evidence. He shows it right there. And a lot of my content is repeated from his or BioLane's, or there's a few. I follow about 10 different creators, right? And then I'll also do a little. I'll go on PubMed. I'll do a little Google myself. I've got a little bit of time for something I'm really interested in. I'll have a little bit of research through it myself as well, and have a look through it. Yeah. Anyway, there we go. That's me. I'm done. I've got to go. I'm late. I'm not late. Please just text me saying it's going to be about 12 if that's all right. Yes. I mostly eat full fat versions because I think they taste nice. It's simply personal, 100%. And it's one of those full fat. A lot of full fat foods do taste nicer. Like I can't touch skim milk. I'll always have semi-skim milk, and it's just one of them for me. If you'd rather have a full fat, if you've basically got 100 calories for cheese, and you'd rather have something that you really enjoy eating and less volume, have full fat. It's like I did that post yesterday or the day before, and basically, if you want 100 calories of full fat cheese, you get 24 grams. If you want 100 calories of 50% fat cheese, you get a third more. You get 37 grams. So you get more volume. Some people like more volume because it's a bit more psychological. If you've got 24 grams of cheese, you're like, what the hell is that? Whereas you got 37 grams. Yesterday, I had cheese and beans. I had toast, beans, cheese on top, right? And do you know what I did? And I had 40 grams of cheese on my beans on toast. 10 grams of full fat, 10 grams of 30%, 10 grams of 50%, and 10 grams of the protein cheese, because I've got a lot of cheese in my house at the moment. And basically, I took a tub with a lid, and I put, because Rachel had the same, I put 20 grams of full fat, 20 grams of 50, 20 grams of 30, 20 grams of the protein, put a lid on, give it a right good shake up. It's all mixed together, and I used that, and it was absolutely banging. It was great. It melted fine. So, and it was spot on for me. So you can use whatever you want. If you prefer the taste of full fat yogurt, have full fat yogurt, but please don't be under the impression that it's nutritionally more beneficial. It isn't. It's going to be it's going to be a full fat Greek yogurt is going to have a lot of healthy properties to it, but it is going to be less health promoting than a 0% fat Greek yogurt. You're also going to get a lot less protein, and you're also going to get a lot less volume. But if you'd rather compromise that for absolutely fine, still having a 10% fat Greek yogurt in the grand scheme of things, as long as overall you're not over consuming saturated fat, it's not going to cause you any issues whatsoever. I did create my own 4-cheese blend, absolutely, and I'm going to have to do that a lot because, like I say, I've got a lot of cheese at the moment. Luckily, it lasts a good couple of weeks, but I'll get through it. Yeah, I've got a kilo of cheese to get through, plus a load of Christmas cheese as well. I love cheese, and it's a bloody good job. I need to have some. I need to build my lunch into cheese. Anyway, there we go, peeps. That's it this morning. I've got to go. It's been a pleasure as always. Ian Boss, hope you good. Jess, I'm very good. Thank you very much. Any messages? I'm going to shoot off to the gym now. Got a few bits and pieces. Anyone relying on messaging or waiting for messages back from me, right? I'll message it. I will get back to everyone today. Life is just hectic, busy at the moment. But today is an office day. I'm literally going to be back in this office for about 11:30 this morning, and I will not be leaving until about 6 o'clock tonight. So it's just bang. Well, I'll have to do a dog walk or two in between, but actually I might get the dog walks done before I come back to the office. Right, I'm out of here, TikTok. I'll see you. I'm back tomorrow, 8:30 in the morning, standard time, 8:30, TikTok live, Facebook, YouTube, all the bit. And I'm going to do one tomorrow evening as well, probably about 7:30. So if you can't make tomorrow morning, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow evening. Guys, have a great day, TikTok. I'll see you tomorrow. Obviously, by the way, if you're on Planner in the community, I'll see you. It might be just after 12. Please just message me. I'm in at 12. I'll leave the door open. It's fine. Yeah, cool. Right. Guys, I'm out. Yeah, TikTok. See you later. Facebook, YouTube.